Hi, everyone. So, yesterday, what we did was think about why people have always gone to war. Today, what we want to think about is ways in which people justify the cost of war, because we know war is a very violent thing. War affects entire countries, entire histories, entire landscapes, and individual people's lives and families. So, just war theory is the product of many scholars and many centuries of thought about how do we justify war? How can we have a war that is rooted in justice instead of just random violence? Um, we're also still reading for evidence this week, right? So that means that we need to be paying attention. We need to be reading closely. We need to not just be reading what's on the page, but thinking about what's on the page. And that's what our instructions ask us to do. So in step 1, read through the article, annotating 3 jus ad bellum or jus in bello points that make sense to you and 3 points that you think could be misused. So you want to find 3 things to annotate that you're like, yes, I think this is a good consideration, and this could lead to a war that ultimately caused more good than it does bad. And then you want to pick 3 that you think could be misused. So, actually, I see this point potentially leading to a war that is a mistake, that is more bad than it is good. All right, so let's look at the examples that I have pulled out. For the one that I thought was a good point is down here in the jus in bello section. It says, no intrinsically unethical means is a debated principle in war theory. Some theorists believe there are actions which are always unjustified. They reference torture, shooting to maim, biological weapons. So I thought that that was a good consideration that could ultimately lead to a war that was maybe more justified than it was unjustified. And so I highlighted. Again, you can highlight by dragging your cursor, going up here, clicking a color. And then I put a comment over on the side. In a just war, some tactics that many consider inhumane may not be used. That's my comment. Again, you don't have to believe that. That's just one that was appealing to me, and so that's the one I chose. You will probably choose very different ones. Then, for one that I kind of disagreed with, or at least thought could be misused, this says, is the war from a legitimate authority? This demands war only be declared by leaders of a recognized political community and with the political requirements of that community. So what I did was highlight this and leave a comment. I think this could be misused if a community and their authority disagree. So let's say that a small community decides they want to go to war, but their leader says, no, we're actually not going to war, or vice versa. This just seems like there's a little bit of a hole in the logic. And so if one group wants to go to war and one group doesn't, then is that really a war rooted in justice? So this is what you want to do for step 1. Then we're going to go down and we have step 2. So we've already done the first part. We've familiarized ourselves with all of these reasons that just war theorists believe that war can be good and justified when they've thought through all these steps, right? So we want to think about ways in which certain situations, certain wars might violate these things. So again, this is reading for evidence and then applying that evidence. So let's look at an example. I'll give you a situation and then you will explain which point of just war theory it violates. So an example, a foreign country on another continent is under attack from a much larger neighboring country. The US decides to go to war because they think that if they defeat the larger country, they will gain access to diamond mines in the smaller country. I said that this is not a just war because it breaks the rule of right intention, that the US would be going to war to become richer, not to defend life.